Today, we're just starting with no-code AI workflow and automation. Of course, this is also another interesting path that all of us need to pick interest in. So, before now, if you need to do anything, if you need to automate an operation, you will need to learn how to code. You must know code then. But great, now we're having good tools that just by thinking about what you want to achieve, it's possible because we have environments that make this process very easy and flowful. And that's what we want to look at today. Several tasks. Now, when we're talking about automation, basically, we are saying that every task that is repetitive, humans no longer need to do it again. We can make machines do this. So just look at any task that is repetitive. When you come in the morning, you do the same thing today. Throughout the day, this next day, you do the same thing like that. So those type of operations, machines can handle them effectively if given the right instructions and the right guidance. And that's what we want to talk about today. So no-code automation platform lets you connect apps, AI tools, and data sources without writing code. That was the difficult part when people have to think of codes that you will write so that you will implement a function or make a computer do a particular thing or a system do a particular thing. But now, good as it is, we are having thousands of platforms that it's just a drag and drop, but the logic still lies with you. You will need to understand what you need to automate, how the flow looks like. Then with that, you just drag and drop, and then your task is automated. These tools usually assemble workflows using drag and drop building blocks. So we have several platforms that allow you to do this. We have make.com, the one we're experimenting with today. We have the Poki.ai. They allow you to do things such as automate repetitive business tasks. And basically, most tasks that we want to automate are business tasks. Well, some personal tasks as well can be automated such that you don't need to worry about them. The system does that on your behalf. But majorly, we look at business. If you look at most of these platforms, it's with a business understanding that they are built. And so if you are using them to automate business tasks, it's even far better because first, we are removing that redundancy that just one person do one thing, keep doing one thing over and over, but we're looking at advanced way of doing things. So now the human brain, we can use it more efficiently instead of pushing it back just to do one thing over. People say AI will take your job. Well, I don't believe that, and I don't think that is possible because this human brain cannot be taken over by machines. Every day we advance, we think about new things, but machine is limited to what they can do. It is the instruction I give the machine, that's the instruction it obeys. But then the human brain keep advancing and keep thinking of new ways of doing things. So AI will not take the human job, but it will replace people that refuse to learn. So what people that refuse to adjust to what is happening to the technology will be replaced surely. But then if you don't want to be replaced, then you move in that line and get new rules. So new rules are coming up. The old ones are being taken away. So what does this platform does is connect APIs and apps, process data with AI models, build end-to-end workflows for email, spreadsheet, and several others. So we have mentioned a few of these platforms that we use or you can use to automate your tasks. We have the make, which is our first one for today, the Pokey, the NA8, N8N, the Power Apps, the Bubble, the Airtables, Crew AI, several of them that you can use to automate your tax. You can take your time and look at any of them that you feel comfortable with. The thing is, all of these platforms work in their own different ways. They might not work exactly like each other, but all of them have their unique advantages that you can take off. So when you explore them, you look at the one that best suit your use case. That's the one you want to take. You go with it, but you will learn how it is being built and how its applications are built. For one, we are looking at make.com. So a powerful automation platform where you build workflows. These workflows are called scenarios using modules. The modules are the apps and then the tools. I'm sure we have all registered on make.com. We have signed up. And then because when you sign up, at least for every month, you have 1,000 scenarios that you can build. If you want to increase that, that's where you'll be getting close over 10,000 scenarios that you can build for a month. But then for the free one, you have about 1,000 scenarios that you can test with, you can build, you can do several things with it. And I think they are charitable, so we appreciate them. So use cases for make.com. We can use it for AI text generation. We can automate email automation, update our CRM websites or data as it is. We can use data enrichment. We can do for social media scheduling, maybe for content creation and the rest. The Pokey.ai, a simple AI automation platform with templates. Of course, make.com also have its own templates as well. You can build with templates. You can just build with just your prompts. You can use prompt to also build, and then you make some adjustments. So the Pokey uses AI automation platform with templates for AI assistant, support workflows, AI messaging, message routing, AI enrichment, LLM-based data extraction, and the rest. We will not look at Pokey today, but then you can take your time and look at it. Core concepts. And this core concept we're looking at is basically for make.com, which we are trying to use today. So remember we said for make.com, the first thing you are creating is you are creating a scenario, which is your automation. And then in this scenario, you have modules that you are using, which are the tools or the apps you are integrating. And then you have triggers. Triggers as is more like saying, this is what needs to be done before the automation kickoff. So for example, you can say, if there is a new email, do this. So that email becomes the trigger, and the action it does is what is the, maybe if there is a new email, maybe send a reply back. The email that enter is a trigger that will cause an action. And then the action could be just maybe to populate a Google Sheet or to back it up in a Google Drive or to send a trigger to Notion or to send or to call you. It is such that you can even make get an alert on your WhatsApp once an email enter. Depends on the automation you want and your use cases. So there could be an action after a trigger and a data flow. So if a record enter the Google form, for example, an action should be that, okay, update my Google Sheet. So what's happening is that data flows to the Google Sheets, and that's the process. The action is that it triggers data to move to the Google Sheets, and then the Google Sheet receive a flow of data. Or it could be that you are even updating another sheet that you have records already in it. So several use cases and several things you can think about The most important thing here is that our brain needs to grow higher again. So we could be able to say, why am I doing this task every day? How am I going to automate this particular task? What tools am I going to use? Or how was I using it before? So what is going to take its place? So let's look at scenario. Scenario is the full automation workflow. Like I said from the beginning, that is where you begin your every workflow in make.com is called a scenario. So complete automation like this is a workflow. What's happening is an email enters, and then maybe there's an iterator, and it's linking to this dump AI. Dump AI might probably be an analyzer, and then it populates a Google Sheet. For some organization, this is a task that somebody needs to be employed, and the person keep doing this task every day. And so if you have this, you can decide to automate. A sequence of steps are called module that execute in order to perform a complete process. Now, these are different modules. Here, there's a module here for iterator. There's a module here for dumpling AI, and there's a module here for Google Sheets. So this example is receive email, extract text with AI. Yeah, so what this one is doing is it extracts the text using an AI, write a summary, and then store the summary in Google Sheets. That's how this workflow is automated. So the modules uses tools. So there are several tools, thousands of tools in make.com that you can use. So modules are building blocks inside a scenario. Each module represents an app. So an app could be a Gmail, an Airtable. An Airtable is more like a database, a Slack, a Notion, an OpenAI, Google Gemini, it's a workflow, a webhook, a weather, a JSON file, a Google form, and several. When you go through them, you see several platforms that you can use as modules. Now, we have types of modules. We have trigger modules.
What are the different platforms or modules available on a specific type of phone? How do you access or use different applications?
So, types of modules. We have trigger modules. Remember, we have talked about triggers. We said triggers is what cause an action to be performed. So I gave one simple example, maybe populating a Google Sheet. The moment records enter that sheet is a trigger that will perform an action. We have action modules. Now, action module is where it's performing an action, maybe retrieving, like in the case we just looked at, what that action module for AI is summarizing the text from the email. So this is more like, this is a trigger module. Well, this is an action module. So AI modules, LLM, embedding images, generation, and the rest. So, and then we could have utility modules where we are looking at our HTTP, our routers. Routers try to separate workflows. And the moment it picks one trigger, it say, okay, this time, maybe you've created a webhook on your email, on your website, for example, your blog. And you are saying the moment there is a new blog, AI should just extract key information, summarize the blog, and then give me a LinkedIn post or a Facebook ad or an Instagram post. So, but this router will just want to redirect them. One, the flows will not go in the same direction. One will automate LinkedIn post. Another direction we go to maybe a Facebook post or an Instagram post. That's what routers are. So we have said this before. Now again, trigger starts the automation. So I've talked a little about this example. New email arrives in Gmail. New record added in Google Sheets. HTTP request received. Message posted in Slack, or form submitted. So trigger runs the entire scenario from the start. Action. Hold on. So let me look at this diagram we have. This is a webhook. It's a trigger app. So the webhook is triggering this. This webhook might even be a form submitted. Maybe in your website, you have a contact form such that when users wants to get information about you or wants to contact you, can fill a form and submit. Once the form is submitted, the trigger has received, the webhook has received something that triggers it to work. The moment it receives it, maybe it sends an email. It could be a confirmation email. Thank you, we have received your query. Sent an email, sends the information to Gmail. Gmail sends an email, or what happened is Gmail drafts a response. Okay, in this case, Gmail drafts a response based on the request received from the website. This webhook can be even to a Google form. And so it sends an email, but this OpenAI, the LLM here, create a draft response and then send it back. Here, this path for this route, the webhook triggers an action and maybe send a notification on a group Slack platform. Maybe the company has a Slack platform for sales or for customer support. So what happens if there is a form submitted? And me sending the email, the webhook also send a response to the Slack. So everybody get notified that, oh, there is either a request for a product to be purchased or maybe a complaint. And then once we have that, the Claude, which is attached to the Slack, will either summarize, if it is a long text, summarize the message, or generate an image if the content is about an image. That's what the trigger does. Action. We have tried to explain also action. An action is what the scenario performs after the trigger fires. Send an email, create a record. I've tried to explain this while I'm talking about trigger as well. Create a record, summarize text with AI, move a file, update a CRM entry, post a message to Slack. These are just actions that once an action is triggered, or once the trigger fires up, it performs an action. So action execute in order, transforming or routing data through the workflow. So data flow describe how information moves through the scenario. In this case, we have a complete data flow here. Google Forms, you fill a Google form. That Google form updates information in a Google Sheets. Then we have a router. So what the router does is, first, there is an email that is sent. And then the second route is that a message is also sent to Teams. Probably there's a group, Teams group, or a personal Teams message for the owner to know that there is a message. That same message is also sent in as an email. So data flow describes how information moves through the scenario, how it works. Trigger produces data, email content, form submission, rule values. Then the modules receive data from previous steps. Data is transformed. That's cleaning, AI processing, and then extraction. Then finally, data is sent to an app or storage. So it depends if you want to. In our case here, there is no storage, but like it's sending information to the recipient. So we have a trigger, moving to AI module, and then formatter, and down to an action and database if there is. So data flow describe how information moves through the scenario, how it works. Trigger produces data. From submission, we have done this. Data is transformed. Final data is sent to an app or a storage location. Same visual pictures of what we're talking about. So most of these are triggers, and then triggers fires up. Modules receive data from previous steps, and then data is transformed if we have an AI in between, and then the final destination, either sending an email or even updating a Google Sheet. Data flow for email summarization. Maybe we'll do, this is what we might even use as our use case. We use this as our use case since we don't want to do a large work within a short time. So use cases summarizes email automatically. The scenario is summarize incoming emails and store summaries in Notion. I might not use Notion, but we can just decide, so okay, summarize the email and update a Google Sheet, because my Notion account is already for an organization, so I don't want to go temper with it. So modules, trigger modules, that's Gmail. It could just be to watch an email. Now, so when we're looking at this, when we start the automation, the practice, you will understand some of these that we're trying to describe. So your trigger for email could just be watch an email or respond to an email or delete an email or back up an email. But in this case, we are looking at watch an email. AI, so we have an AI module. Here they are using OpenAI, but I see that we have created a Gemini key, so we'll be using our Gemini key, our Gemini module, not the OpenAI in this case. Here, it generates a summary, and the summary is generated based on prompts given. We'll look at the setup. Then action, create database entry in Notion. The trigger is the new email that arrived, extraction, extract text from email, generate summary with LLM, save summary, and metadata to Notion. Yeah, there are other platforms that we have talked about. Here we have Relevance AI, N8N, we have Bubble, we have Lindy, we have Make, and several, thousands of them. Every day they are coming up. Again, we keep saying that the future is ours. The beauty about this is that you are not limited again in what you can build. You are only limited in your knowledge. What will stop you from going forward is if you refuse to think. In our age now, what is demanded is your ability to think. Your ability to say, how can I handle this task? I don't want to keep doing this over and over again. And for me, I'm so much in love with what is happening because I cannot imagine myself doing one thing every day. I need to think about new things, new way of doing things. So any task that I do every day, I say that's no longer my task. It is for a machine to do and not me. So we hope to get a hands-on when we have the time. But yes, that's just a brief explanation